ever feel uncomfortable? An anxiety, like you aren't sure who you are anymore or where you are anymore? Do you ever feel like you're not even in your own skin? Perhaps it's more like you're just a puppet or a passenger to someone else's whims. And allow me to pull your strings over to patreon.com/evacstation. For less than the cost of experimental brain surgery, you can listen to us speak to you. It's like we're in your head with you, keeping you company here in the sunken place. Again, that's patreon.com/evacstation. And enjoy the show.
You hear the beating of your heart, you know the screaming's gonna start. Here comes the really scary part, 'cause it's terror time again. They've got you running through the night. It's terror time again. Oh, you just might die of fright. It's a terrifying time.
The clock has struck midnight, and you know what that means. It's terror time again, and we'll be running this podcast all through the night from a terrifying sight. We are Aaron J. Waseska, and with me today I have Ryan Metters.
Hello.
And guesting for us this week is Beau Ketchum.
Whoa, what's up, guys? How's everyone doing?
Doing
Don't
good,
answer
Beau.
back. I can't. Not you guys. It's time about the listeners.
Haven't seen you since Doctor Strange, man. How's it been going?
Very well. Been watching lots of TVs and movies, shows as usual. Been really liking a lot of the content that's been coming out, and just super excited about doing this. Obviously, if I'm back for a second time, I did something right. So
Absolutely.
awesome. Totally excited to discuss this movie too. This is going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah. And I'm definitely excited for all the new stuff coming out, too, because there's some trailers that came out, some shows on Netflix that came out. If we were doing What You Watching, I'd have stuff to talk about today. But for Terror Time, we're doing something a little different. So basically, I take a question that's kind of related to the movie a little bit and kind of throw it your way. So for you boys today, if you could live the rest of your life in someone else's body, who would you pick and why?
Ooh. Chris Evans, absolutely.
Chris Evans is a very solid pick.
The man is built, and he's actually stupidly graceful for someone his size. Like, he's actually really fucking dexterous just by himself. So yeah, no, I body snatch that man, sure.
To stick with like the same theme, because I'm having so many hot dudes go through my brain right now. I'm having a hard time focusing on which one. So I'd actually want to be Robert Downey Jr., but not. Well, no, Robert Downey Jr. himself would be cool, but I think it would be better to be more like a Tony Stark, if that's a possibility.
So somebody like a younger Robert Downey Jr. possibly.
Yeah. Let's just say if I had Robert Downey Jr.'s money, I would eventually try to turn into Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Man, that's a tough one. I'm tempted to go like a martial arts master like Jet Li or something, but I think I'm going to go for a young body that has a very good chance of extending my life to do some crazy things. I'm going to go Tom Holland, actually.
Oh, really?
He's a young man. He's very flexible. He's very athletic. He's not buff.
Hilarious.
But he's got enough going where I'm pretty sure that he's going to go quite a ways. So I think that's a safe pick.
He's theatrical and whatnot. I can dig that.
Okay, so Aaron's playing the long game over here, and it's like, you know what? I want to just add 20 years to my lifespan, so I'm gonna get him young. Okay.
Right. Something he says often, actually.
Not the same way as James Gunn, but we'll get to that.
No.
So everybody, this week we're talking about, as you can probably guess, Get Out. It is 2017's big sensation, directed by Jordan Peele, and this film managed to gross $255,457,000 worldwide, which is pretty damn spectacular for a directorial debut. with a production budget of $5 million. That's right, this
Oh,
movie
wow.
made 50 times what it cost.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
And this movie deserves all the success that it's gotten too.
Absolutely. The film stars notable actors such as Daniel Kaluuya. I have him written down twice for some reason. Catherine
Because
Keener,
he's that good, goddamn.
Bradley Whitford, Lakeith Stanford, and Lil Rel Howery. I don't know if I spelled that right or not. I might have just misspelled that. Unsurprising, this film went on to win 138 different awards and 190 nominations.
Yeah,
Wow.
that makes sense.
And while it didn't win Best Picture, like it could have, to highlight a few of the ones it did win, Best Horror Film from the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, Movie of the Year from the AFI Awards, Best Screenplay from the Oscars, and, again unsurprisingly, this film cleaned up at the African American Film Critics Association, winning Best Picture, Director, Actor, and Screenplay. There are many more, but I think you get the idea.
Sounds biased.
And then, Ryan, I was wondering if you'd help me out with a bonus fact this week.
Of course, I got bonus facts for you, sir. So writer, co-producer, and director Jordan Peele was inspired to write this movie by Eddie Murphy's stand-up film Delirious. It came out, his stand-up special Delirious in 1983. Now, Murphy joked a lot about horror films, including Poltergeist and Amityville Horror, and asked why white people don't leave when there's a ghost in their house. Murphy joked that as he was showing his wife around the beautiful house, if he heard a ghost whisper, "Get out," he would immediately tell her, "Too bad, baby, we can't stay. We're done." Peele repeated Murphy's joke on the DVD commentary of this film. And as an extra bonus fact, due to the success of the film, Jordan Peele actually became the first African-American writer, producer, and director to earn more than $100 million in his debut film.
Jeez.
This man deserves all the success he can get. That's a fucking amazing feat right there.
Yeah, no, he killed it. Oh my god.
Yeah, especially first timer coming out, and the funny part, a little anecdote to tell you about the going to this movie. My wife and I are sitting down. She knows it's written, directed, by Jordan Peele, and so, ironically enough, I fell asleep right after the the police scene. So I fall asleep. Surprisingly enough, she thinks it's a comedy. And when this is a little slow right now. And I wake up at the end. Luckily, I didn't get no spoilers or anything like that. And so I wake up and I look at her and I'm like, "Oh, babe, I fell asleep. How was it?" And she's just like, "What did you fall asleep for?" Totally fucking scared. It was awesome.
That is awesome. I love it.
So it was a comedy.
Well,
And
I
that
mean,
was
if you go into it hearing nothing about it except that it's Jordan Peele from Key and Peele, that's understandable to think it's a comedy.
A little bit,
Phillips.
but I mean, come on. At least look at the trailer. At least get an idea of what you're about to see.
Some people
Right.
like to be purists and just go in blind.
I know. So before we get into the synopsis, gentlemen, let's go ahead with the initial thoughts. So, what do you guys think of the movie going into it before we get to the before we dive in?
Man, this was really fun going back
It
to
really
see
was.
this again, because I haven't seen it in a while, and on the rewatch I was losing my mind all over again. I absolutely adore this movie. It's a fantastic film. It is unsettling. It is awkward, and it's really, really funny, but it speaks to something really, really true, which makes it all the more funny and all the more awkward and really all the more unsettling. So I think the basis in reality and the fact that this isn't as ridiculously far-fetched as could be, it knocks it out of the park. It just makes everything about the movie that much better. So yeah.
Absolutely. Beau, initial thoughts from you?
Ryan, great evaluation there. There's a few points I can't wait to get into that, but going into this, I was very excited about the aspect of a horror movie, something that we haven't seen be this successful in a long time. Sixth Sense, I think maybe it was the last horror movie to get such acclaim. And so going into it, definitely excited. The fact that, the production aspect of it, the directing aspect of it was new, and here's Jordan as fresh hot director. It got me excited about that Hollywood movie story, and it completely came through in that aspect. I felt like a kid watching a horror movie in a movie theater. It had that old school feel to it, and it just was a really good movie from every technical aspect you can think about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I'll throw my 2 cents in real quick. I actually know people personally who are uncomfortable with this film. To me, that means it's working. I think it's really good, and many people I know underrate it because of the weird uncomfortableness they have. And for me, if a horror movie is not making you uncomfortable, it is not doing its job right.
That's well said, man. That's well put. I like that.
Yeah, you thought about that, didn't you?
A little bit, yeah.
I felt like you wrote that down.
I got notes for days, man.
Yeah, I added a little 2 cents. It was so intense without a lot of gore, and it built this amazing tension. And just as the story reveals itself, it just created, more of those tense feelings of, like you said, the awkwardness and just like this tension building of, because it's a horror movie, so something's got to happen. And so just like that big reveal, the monster at the end, you just like, what's going to happen, And I thought that was just an incredible element that he did a very good job on.
Absolutely. Are you gentlemen ready for a synopsis here?
I am, and my drink is far away from me, so here we go.
I do have jokes in here, so I'm glad you prepared. All right, here we go.
Oh, damn. Yo, check this out. Black guys drive a car like this. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, but white guys, see, they drive a car like this. It's true. We're so lame.
The film begins with a nameless African-American man being abducted in some suburbs. He's gone for now, but he'll be important later. On to more important characters like Chris Washington, an African-American photo boy who takes pretty pictures. He's out on a trip with his girlfriend, Rose, to meet her family at their estate. Along the way, we establish his best bro, Rod, of the TSA, and a cop doing the level of quality we expect from cops circa 2017. But Rose uses her white knighting to keep Chris from an unwarranted arrest or deadly beatdown. When we arrive at the estate, things feel a little off. The black servants act like more like machines. Mr. Armitage is checking his privilege harder than TSA checks your bags. And Mrs. Armitage gets real personal with an impromptu hypnotherapy session to rid Chris of his smoking habit and trapping him in basically the Shadow Realm. More on that later. Chris tries to point out the weirdness to Rose the next day, but she asks him why any of this seems suspicious. He shrugs it off, and they attend the parents' elegant dinner party, where everyone talks to Chris about his race with the subtlety of a bag of hammers. He meets a blind art dealer who tries to play it cool, but something's up with him too. He also meets another African-American man dragged to the party, Logan. Much like the black servants, he comes off as a bit stiff and awkward, and there's a dick joke in there somewhere. Chris finds his phone unplugged and lacking charge. He tries to call Rod and tell him what's going on. Rod, logically, tells him that he should probably leave because this is getting him all kinds of bad vibes. Chris brushes it off because Rod is probably just joking. Chris returns to the party and takes a picture of Logan, and the flash triggers him like a flashpoint paradox. He tells Chris to get out, roll credits, and is escorted away to see Mrs. Armitage. Her hypnotherapy calms him back down to his weird robot-like self. Rose takes Chris off for a walk while the rest of the party resumes with an auction. I mean, a bingo game. B34. Anyone? Chris and Rose decide to leave. They return to their room to pack their bags. Chris sends the picture of Logan to Rod, and it is revealed that it's the picture of the same nameless black man from the beginning of the film. And he has a name. And they knew him. And Chris finds photos of Rose's other African-American people, including ones who look like the creepy servants. All the more panic, Chris tries to get to the car, But Rose's brother, father, and mother all stop him. Rose reveals herself to be in the dark side all alone, and Chris is captured. The B-plot begins with Rod using whatever resources he can to find Chris, who has been missing and unreachable for about 2 days now. He knows something is up, but has no real evidence to prove it. Chris gets the exposition that his body will be used to house the brain of the art dealer we met earlier. Jeepers creepers, where did you get those peepers? Chris figures a clever way to get out of the house, find his way through the whole family until the final confrontation with Rose and Grandpa Armitage in the body of the Black Grounds Keeper. Chris flashes to Grandpa, who turns on Rose and kills himself. Chris sits over Rose, police lights flash, and it seems like Chris is thoroughly fucked. They turn out to be Rod, who has found Chris and brings him home, while Rose dies from blood loss. End of the film.
What a fucking ride this was.
That's really... It's impressive. It's impressive. You use the word photo boy. I don't know if that was the correct term.
I don't believe it's the correct term, but I thought it was funny. I'm hoping to get some good photo boys for my wedding next year. It'll be great.
Oh my god. That could mean so many different things. I have a lot of gay friends, so I mean, they
absolutely.
I can make photo boys happen.
That does not surprise me at all. So now we've gone through that, boys. What are your thoughts on the movie?
I don't know. Ryan, I don't know you particular, your background, but this is obviously a movie that plays a very hard social issue right now, white and black. I am a white guy, but
no, I don't believe that for a second.
I don't know if you could tell, but to all the listeners who don't know me, but I also lived in situations where I was the only white guy. So I've seen, I've been very close to, black friends and Mexican friends, and so I've seen this side of what they go through, being just with them in social groups. But also on the flip side of that, being the only white guy, I've been, not to the level that we see things today, but a small taste of it. So going into this, I think I have an interesting perspective on, this racial, topic that's brought up with the movie.
That is very interesting. It does bring up an interesting perspective. I can say, as a black guy, who primarily actually has a lot of white friends, a lot of this movie hit home for me.
I was going to say, I would love to hear more details about that, because I don't know that perspective at all from anyone I know personally, so...
Yeah.
So Ryan, me and you are almost like swapped brains of the experiences. I was the only white guy. You were the only black guy. This is crazy.
It's almost like a photo negative.
I like it.
Hashtag photo boys. Anyway.
Oh, we gotta get that trending.
But no, I like I said, as a guy who primarily has white friends, being black, but also having gone to a small liberal arts school in like northern Illinois, I've been in many situations like this. Like I've had those awkward dinner parties where I was literally the only black guy there, and people just absolutely did not know how to handle it, and were really trying their damnedest to skirt around the racial issue, which never stops being awkward. It absolutely never stops being awkward.
I have to ask why they would need to skirt around it in a normal conversation. I mean, you guys could just talk about ninjas or the weather or sports or anything. What's the skirt around?
Well, that's the that's the situation. At least that's the situation that I have encountered. Is that a lot of people in that situation where they're interacting with a black person and they don't usually.
Gotcha.
They find, like, they like, a lot of their mental efforts is either focused on specifically not mentioning that, or making sure that it's absolutely clear that they have no problem with the fact that your skin is a much different tone than theirs is.
Right.
See, I feel like the easiest solution for that is actually think about it and just treat you like a normal person.
Yes, that's
You would think that.
Answer.
You would think that.
The perfect answer.
And what I've noticed is in the generations of the 25-year-olds, like in that kind of era, there's a little bit more. We're talking about particularly older white people who, if you look at their experience with Black culture, it wasn't as where it was today. They didn't grow up with BET. They didn't grow up with, all kinds of, more Black leaders and
Obama
entertainers and all this kind of. Right. And so when there's that little bit of a racial numbness to that younger generation, we're talking about old people that just don't know how to act because they've seen horrible examples of, some very negative things that happen to that community.
Damn old people.
But it was crazy. And so, being with my Black friends, I've witnessed, it myself, be like, holy crap, that person just totally, asked you the most awkward question about physique. Or so I've seen, these same situations being next to my friend, you know what I mean? And it's fucking crazy to see that,
And that's what I honestly love about a lot of this movie is that it takes those really awkward and socially intense, socially charged situations, and it takes them just past the point of exaggeration, because as the movie goes on, you find out, okay, well, they were obviously asking these stupidly awkward ass questions because they're trying to see whether or not they should bid on this dude because they want to fucking body snatch him, and that makes a lot of sense. But
right.
The basis of that awkwardness is something that people experience every day, and that's really what drives it home.
And that's what made this such an incredible movie, that the fact that the way it was written, he added that horror. So he takes the social, situation that's very huge right now, and he creates a really good story for it. So there's still other elements that you start looking at that takes you on this enjoyable ride of a good horror movie. And it's easy to be gory. It's easy to make, things awkward and disgusting and sick people out. But to take a storyline like this and take it to the levels is extremely impressive.
Oh yeah, this definitely hits psychological horror more than anything else. And I think I appreciate films that do that more because it makes you really think. Whereas the gory horror, it's like, okay, well, there's a bucket of blood over there. It's cool. It's fine.
Yeah,
Right.
We actually touched on this when we talked about Raw with Nicole.
Absolutely.
And how it is easier to do shit that's visually gross and what have you. But it's much harder and much more rewarding to really get the tone of the movie to be really uncomfortable and what's the word I'm looking for? Not intense, but yes, unsettling. Thank you. But to get a very unsettling tone throughout the entirety because that keeps you engaged. It keeps you constantly looking for what's off. You don't know exactly what it is, but there are smaller things that are just constantly adding up to what the fuck is going on? What is this? What's happening? And while you're really uncomfortable, it also keeps you really engaged in the movie, as opposed to just showing you something gross, which says, oh God, that's gross, and then you're out of it automatically.
Right. And now I've got a question. Are the people racist?
I actually have a question. My discussion points here a little bit kind of jumps into that.
Are they racist, or are they so in love with the Black culture that they want to be Black?
I think the overarching point of the movie is to say that a lot of the social awkwardness and racism is rooted in that idea that the people who are reacting like the worst to this are reacting to it because it's so different, and there's a good part of them that while they were raised to think that's entirely otherized and bad because it's so different, there's a very large portion of them that just want to be that but can't really connect to that thought because of how they were raised. So it's like it's the extension of that.
Well,
right, and that.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, they do a really good job of, you see the, the racist imagery of the slave trading, but at the end of the day, they're looking for the best parts of this person. So is that the evil and the fact of the practice of human trafficking?
I would say the evil of it is based primarily in that. When I think of the term racism, I think of the systematic oppression of one group of people in favor of another group of people. And while we talk about a lot of the social awkwardness that goes around prejudice and racism that's just inbred in society, the only real racist moments I can point to is the cop stop at like towards the beginning of the movie, because A, he was getting pulled over simply because he was black, and B, the fact that his girlfriend was mouthing off to this police officer so disrespectfully.
She was literally white knighting for him.
If he said one thing that she said, he'd have been done. That would have been
right.
So it's that, and the fact that after he finally just killed this bitch, or is about to kill this bitch, and you're finally okay, and he wins, and the cop lights show up, and literally the whole movie goes down because in spite of everything that just happened to this dude, this man is going to prison because he is kneeling over a dead white woman. He's automatically dead.
Now, to add to that, actually. So, Ryan, I actually messaged you, and I don't know, Beau, if you saw it, but there's an alternate ending to the film. The movie ending we get is actually the second ending. The original ending, for those who don't know, is instead of Rod showing up at the end, it's actually the cops from earlier in the film. They arrest him for the murder of everybody, and he ends up in jail. Yeah. Rod visits him in jail, and he's like, "It's over, man," and he just goes back to, being in prison.
Yeah.
I hate that ending.
And they changed that because of that negative feel of, like, already in society at the time the movie came out, like, that was already too much of, like, a reality. So I guess they made the change to the ending to create that a little bit more of the hero and the hope for escape type.
From what I read,
way better choice.
From what I read, they wanted Rod to show up at the end because they wanted to have like an uplifting moment after all the shit that just happened.
You absolutely needed an uplifting moment after all that nonsense.
Right.
Like you had this sequence of him succeeding over each member of the family just by the skin of his teeth, and finally, when it's all said and done, to have him go to jail after all that would have been.
Like, think about how shitty it would have felt leaving the movie. Like, God, there was just
everybody
there was
hated
nothing.
That.
Yeah,
but I think it works much better by just having the threat of that happen as the final scare of the movie. Like the worst scare of it is actually the most realistic thing about the movie, because if the cops show up and you're kneeling over this white girl, you're done. That's it.
And I really, and it once goes back into Jordan creating this social awkwardness, and then very beautifully done creating that emotion in you that gives you that kind of relief. And I think, there's a lot of old horror movies referenced in the movie, and I think it just kind of gave you that old school Halloween feel of, like, that last minute, like, that black, scare where, you give the final kill to the person. and you leave with like, oh, they made it, they survived. I really like kind of that old school like throwback there.
Yeah, and I love that they ended it on a laugh because, of course, who saved him but the goddamn TS motherfucking A.
Fucking A.
Agent.
Yeah, so great.
Yes.
That was great. And he was awesome. He was one of the best comic relief, because there's, once again, a certain theme where we all know the comic relief guy and the one guy out there working that ultimately is going to save the day. He comes up at the end and hits the shovel on the head. Like, we've seen this character before in horror movies, and he fucking killed it. I love this guy.
Yeah, I love that his role was so comically charged because it was perfectly done to relieve the tension. He was the perfect tension relief throughout the entire movie. Every time Lil Rel showed up, like you were gonna get to breathe for a second and laugh.
Exactly. Yeah,
before you
exactly.
get back into the awkwardness.
I kind of got goosebumps just thinking about, those little tension relief moments of like, because you don't want complete action the entire. Well, you can, but not in a story-driven movie like this. You're gonna need those act breaks to kind of reset different scenes.
And they did a good job not taking it too far, because I know in some films when you break tension like that, it can really just kind of, I don't know, dilute it too much where you can't take the moment seriously. For what's happening. So they did a good job balancing out here, I think. They didn't
There's a difference between relieving tension and then completely stopping the momentum of the film. I think they played that line very well.
And I think that goes to show the care and respect that Jordan Peele actually has for making movies. Like, he brings a very Quentin Tarantino love of just knowing about how movies are made. You could tell that he's a huge movie geek himself, and he's just a kid making movies that he's always wanted to, and he really, really put that feel into this picture, and I'm super excited to see what else he can bring, because just imagine, Keanu, the movie they did, that was one of the best comedies that's been out in quite a long time.
Absolutely. So I got a few discussion questions we haven't hit yet, and I'll throw those at your way right now. So during your first watch, did you guys suspect Rose is in on it at all?
Beau, what do you think? Well, this will be for your second watch, Beau, because you fell asleep the first one.
I watched it 3 times. Well, 2 and 1.1 time. I thought, being a movie fan, knowing how the formula builds and the family, I figured she had something to do with it. I did. I think they did a good job of covering it, but just
they did a really good job of covering it.
I think just with that, as soon as he was like, "Baby, the keys," you're like, "Ah, fuck, this bitch got the keys." She got the keys, and sure enough, she had the keys.
Yeah. As soon as they walked away and they were doing the auction, I thought to myself, "Okay." The first time, at least, I thought, "Okay, she's either in on it or she is really stupid." I don't think she's really stupid.
So the first time I saw this, and then I will give every prop to the actress who played this role, because she really sold the fuck out of it. But when I first saw it, and I honestly didn't pick up on it. I don't know what the fuck's going on. And I was really hoping that she wasn't a part of it, but when the pictures came up of all of these black guys that she was dating, I will be entirely honest. My first thought was that the mom was hypnotizing her to make her forget about the guy she was bringing home.
I respect your optimism. I respect
it. So that way they kept throwing her out there like the lure, and she would just go out and pull a guy, and then the parents would be like, "All right, go get another one." And honest to God, my first reaction was, "Oh, so they're mind wiping her and snatching all her boyfriends. Damn, that's fucked up." And it wasn't until she was trying to go for the keys, and then the instant character switch when she pulls out the keys and just drops it and says, "I can't give you these keys, right?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my God!" It was I got loud. I don't usually get loud in theaters. Like, I'll make noise and react, but I won't, like, exclaim. And I was mad.
Hold on. I've been in movie theaters in some very questionable neighborhoods, and I think you're the only black guy I know that's ever said he's quiet in a movie.
I try to be because I appreciate other people that are watching.
But I get it, though, because you grew up with all white friends, and, if you're loud, they're going to be looking at you like, oh, like we said, you can't take them to the movies. Man, I gotcha.
Like, I react, and, like, when I react, yes, a little bit of noise will come out, but I'm not one of those people that talk at the movie when I'm in the theater. If I'm at my house and watching shit, yeah,
I get more of a workout at home. I yell at the TV. I was freaking out, and I was by myself, so that I get even more exaggerated about it.
Yeah,
so I totally feel you. I love getting into movies like that.
Yeah, if you ever want to hear me yelling at my TV, put on the Pokemon animated series. I will fucking yell the entire time at Ash for being a fucking idiot.
Nerd alert. Just kidding, buddy.
Ash is a fucking idiot. There's no questions.
But no, to go off that question though, so that's how we suspected her during the first watch. So now that we've all rewatched it at least once, the follow-up question is this. Did you notice anything different about her in the rewatch now that you know she's in on it? Like, because for me, every line she speaks, every action she takes, I immediately am like, okay, this is all to paint the trust, this is all to paint the loyalty, this is all to hide the true facts here. And it just makes the whole scene so different.
Oh, big time. Like, you saw this balance of tension with the family and with her, not like that comic relief type tension, but you see, like you said, she was the one building the trust and, like, engulfing you more into the story. And to go back and look at those lines, she killed it, though. There wasn't any big reveals. Like, she emotionally was attached to that scene so well that second watch, she did a really good job of making you believe that she didn't have any clue what was happening.
Yeah, and it's a credit to her acting, really.
Right.
Like, because you go through and you watch it the second time, and you're not, like, I'm not catching things that I missed originally, and, like, oh, she actually did this, which meant that she was finagling him the whole time. Like, the authenticity of her acting is still there. It's just made so much more nefarious when you know she's actually playing him, just like, it's so sociopathic. It's like, to see, like, especially
emotionless.
Go back and she's a totally normal, loving girlfriend who is just a normal white person who treats her black boyfriend like just her boyfriend, and that's it. And
that's
the fact
the
that
evil.
it's all an act is just so fucked up on the second viewing.
Right, that's the evil of the family itself. The fact that they're willing to allow this human trafficking to go continue because of the evil of the family. And, like, she ultimately is, like you said, the sociopath of the family. The psychologist is just hypnotizing people. The neurosologist is just transferring brains. She more or less is the absolute villain in the sense that she's bringing these men in to be tortured and maimed and be in an awkward party where they get built up with their muscles.
I mean, on the plus side, at least they get laid with her. The brother, they just get beat up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't make it better. It just, it's at least something to think about.
How many of you want to see who's the character, the guy who says the get out line? Andre.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could they not get Dave Chappelle for that? Because I think a parody of that character with, like, them teaming up with Jordan Peele would be absolutely hilarious.
Oh my god, a Dave Chappelle Get Out parody.
Yeah, remember how he did that with The Walking? He did that SNL. He did all of his Dave Chappelle characters, and it was the Walking Dead Negan scene where they're all on their knees, and so it's all all of his old characters. and then he plays, essentially a black Negan who takes them all out. It is one of the most hilarious things. So when I saw that, it was kind of because he walks up and he kind of has that little Dave Chappelle stroll. And he kind of, oh, hey, how you doing? That first intro, I'm like, oh my god, did Dave Chappelle charge too much for this movie or what?
So I don't think Dave Chappelle would have worked in that role.
He too swole.
No. I think it makes sense that he's as young as he is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're getting like the younger black guys. So I think he actually played the role perfectly because
I gotcha.
Especially and this leads into another interesting point. But have you guys heard of the term code switching?
I feel like I probably heard it, but I don't recall.
Okay, I'm gonna school you on some stuff.
Oh,
so, the idea of code switching is when you talk, when you change the way that you speak around certain people, and it's different than how you normally speak.
Oh, okay.
Consider Lil Rel. So you never like if you contrast it with Chris, who keeps like a pretty even tone and just doesn't really change how he speaks. How he speaks is just how he speaks. And I really like that they made that character choice with him. But Logan, like when he's when he's
abducted?
Like, he's at when he's body swapped and he's at the party and he has a very like
robotic tone.
An almost like hoity-toity kind of like elevated sense of like vernacular and like in like the word choice and everything. It's the perfect rendition of like what black folks would call talking white. And I love that he got to show that off at that party. Like it was a wonderful like little moment of code switching where we got to see that kind of played up to its extreme. And of course it's because there's a white guy.
Well, and you kind of get that with the help a little bit too.
Kind of.
I did not pick up on that moment. And that's very interesting that you bring that up because I've seen that quite a bit. I've seen a lot of different cultures, when I'd see other white people, obviously you'd see, white girlfriends acting very from the street, and then you see them elsewhere. And I did not pick up on that point, and I'm really mad that I didn't see that.
See, I wasn't familiar with the term. The closest analogy I've got to that, if I'm using the word correctly there, is back in Seinfeld when George is like, there's work George and there's friend George, and never shall the two intercross.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just sprinkle on all of systemic prejudice, be like that gets attached to the way you talk, and you've got it.
And I've been, I don't want to say a victim of code switching, but a lot of the job that I had was in direct sales, and so I'd go into a different business every different day. 200 people a day, a different part of the community. So you learn to adapt yourself to that, more or less being a chameleon. And I think you don't lose yourself, but you still have a certain, you start articulating a word slightly different. And so there's definitely like certain extremities, like, I'm sure when you were at some of these liberal art places, you were doing a little code switching just for the mere social acceptance of, I don't want to come in here sounding all ghetto. Let me change my speech. And so more or less that's just appearing proper versus, like kind of the extremities of some of the code switching I'm sure that you've seen before.
Absolutely. And that's the big thing. Like I have family that lives on the south side of Chicago. And when I go visit them, I talk a certain way.
Right.
When I go to my office job downtown Chicago, where there are not many people of color, I talk a bit different.
Just a bit.
Like just a bit, because I've been around so many different people that the majority of my vocabulary doesn't really change, but I definitely won't allow that vocabulary to relax as much when I'm in like a certain setting. as opposed to if I'm in Inglewood talking with my cousins. You know,
Be a whole lot different.
Oh,
yeah, it's a bit different.
It's like how we talk in the...
I've been to
Anyone else? I mean, come on.
And I've been in Inglewood, and yeah, you if you come in corny as hell, you're gonna get chewed up in a place like that.
Yeah, you're gonna get toe up. So yeah.
Especially when you're the only white guy in these neighborhoods, you have to show that, you know, you're yourself, but you definitely belong in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I've got one more question left before we get on to our next segment here. So let me hit that up real quick, and then if there's any other things you guys want to bring up, we can do that real fast. So last question here. So this film was up for a Best Picture Oscar, and there was some controversy surrounding the nomination and whether or not people were going to vote for it. In fact, there was reports saying that people who were in the Academy felt they were pressured to vote for it because of all of the political hype around it, so to speak. And because of this film's inclusion in Best Picture, many believe that between this and Black Panther is the reason why the Achievement in Popular Film Award was eventually formed for the upcoming year, and has also, since the time of recording, been discontinued. So my question to you guys is, what are your thoughts on the Popular Film Award, and do you think that Get Out was robbed of the Best Picture?
This is a damn good question.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my god, this is an hour of discussion.
Yeah, no, this is a whole.
Oh my god, we have to have a mini podcast to this podcast. And I think that might be a good, edit this part out, but that might be a good idea because, not all these movies were doing out of sentiment and a love for movies, but this is actually a very, social awareness movie that has, such a connotation to it. So I mean, I could go on for hours about this.
Oh man! All right. So Beau, you are the guest. Let's get your thoughts on that. I have a lot of them, so I'm gonna let you go first.
I think Black Panther is definitely not the sort of representation of, I think there's a lot more white acceptance of Black Panther, and people are like, oh, that got more of that. Wow, how am I trying to? There's too many words floating around my head. I've got to organize my thoughts for a sec.
Beau is actually about to introduce another hour-long question.
Absolutely.
So Get Out would totally deserve the Best Picture award because of the fact of every element that was included into it and was done overall so well. Black Panther, on the other hand, is a great example of that popular vote because at the end of the day, that was an enjoyable movie that represented the Black community in a positive way. Now, I think with Get Out, it showed just great storytelling of a social issue that we're talking about, and it's so prevalent at that moment.
I can kind of follow that a bit. Ryan, any thoughts?
That's real. So I'm looking at. Okay, I'm looking at the Academy Award nominees in 2017.
We should probably preface real quick.
Was it 8?
20. It's the one where Guillermo del Toro's Fish movie won.
Right.
But I want to say. But I do want to say real quick.
I'm looking.
I do want to say real quick. No disrespect to Guillermo del Toro. I do think he still is a very talented director who deserves a win. That may not have been the one I would have given him the win on, though, personally.
No.
And I can't call it too hard because I still haven't seen The Shape of Water as of yet. I mean, Guillermo del Toro, that's the guy, and I still definitely want to see it. I just haven't gotten to take the time to do it. That being said, now, oh shit, yeah, this is an hour. All right. That being said, in regards to whether or not this movie was absolutely a cultural phenomenon, hands down, no question, this definitely speaks to the social aspects and issues that are presently facing it. It causes a lot of discussion and frank talks about race, and Prejudice, which I think is fantastic. And on top of that, it's a fantastically well done movie. Now, if it was just, if it was an okay movie, but still got a lot of acclaim for it, and then people were saying that it needs to have Best Picture, then I probably wouldn't give it as much credence, because I think that the Academy Award for Best Picture should go to the best movie, period, as opposed to just the best movie that has the most social impact. And there definitely needs to be recognition for social impact, because that's a big part of how our society will change, through these shared experiences that get us talking about that. But whether or not it deserved Best Picture, I'm looking at everything that it was going up against. Lady Bird was a fantastic movie. Dunkirk wasn't my usual Chris Nolan cup of tea, but it was pretty good. I know 3 Billboards got a lot of acclaim, and like I said, I still haven't seen The Shape of Water, so I'm not comfortable saying that it was robbed, but I think also the simple nomination says a lot about the craft of the movie that was put out and the importance of it. So I think they were trying to straddle the fence a little bit and give them recognition by nominating them. But whether or not it actually deserved to win, I would want to see The Shape of Water before I made that.
And that's fair.
Well, and we've seen the Academy do a lot of pity awards too, like
Dark Knight.
Like look at Training Day and Denzel Washington.
Training Day, I'll give you Training Day, because that was fantastic.
But he should have also had Hurricane the year before for that nomination. So you get that recognition, which you're right. You know, whether it's a Oscar-nominated director or winner, it still carries that weight. But I still think at the end of the day, that movie was, you know, look at it in the grand scheme of things. AFI's top 100 pictures. There's not a movie like Get Out on that list. You know, so to give it to a movie like a Dunkirk, you know, that's you see a bunch of those movies.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they call those kind of movies Oscar bait for a reason. You know, all those war movies and everything.
Right. And I think it being a horror movie, and you know, there's always been an issue with black nominations when it comes to the Academy, and the fact that it got nominated so much, I think the icing on the cake, they deserve Best Picture. That was the most enjoyable movie of that year to me.
I would say, having seen Shape of Water, I would definitely give the award to Get Out over Shape of Water. Not that Shape of Water is bad by any means, but I don't think it's I don't think it's Guillermo's strongest piece of work, and I don't think it was the best work that came out that year.
That's what I mean. It's that pity award example going to an amazing director who has crushed it time and time again, but given the movie that year should have been to Get Out.
And I think part of the reason they weren't comfortable, aside from the peer pressure given to the Academy voters, it might have also been because he's such a new director, and they didn't want to give him this Best Picture award so quick out of the gate. Sure. Which,
you know, that goes back to...
It seems kind of elitist to me, but I can't really say whether or not that's actually how it goes. I just feel that might have been part of the reason.
Sure. That goes back to Ryan's point of the nomination a lot of times carries just as much weight. So maybe that's what their mentality was, like, hey, he's going to get enough of his to get a second movie and a third movie, and we'll see what he does with his overall work. And,
oh, dude, he made so much money on that movie. I can't imagine he won't go places with that.
Well, yeah, and what do you do? Is there a Get Out 2?
Oh, absolutely not. They better not do a fucking sequel to this. That was perfect. Don't touch.
But hold on, how many times have we seen a one-movie horror movie? And I don't know this, but
The Shining.
You get all these... Yeah, good point. And now that I think about it, the great ones, probably, yeah. Edit out what I just said, because it just sounded stupid.
Well, so if we're talking about where he goes from here, I have heard buzz he was possibly looking into doing a remake of Candyman.
I know nothing about that, actually.
Can't you, Tony Todd? The spooky ass black dude with the trench coat and the book, all the fucking cheese on his face.
Easily.
You see Candyman 3 times in the mirror, he shows up and kills you. You've never heard of that?
That's a new one to me.
I never even thought about that. It's a great cult 80s movie that was it was a pre-Blade. You know, we'd never seen like.
It's like 1992. It's that early.
I was a wee baby then.
I thought it might have been in the 80s. I thought it might have been in the late 80s. I'm looking it up.
It's 92. I just put up the IMDb.
92, so 12. All right, that makes sense. All right, but still, that'd be a really good movie. And that was that Crow era of like kind of indie movies coming out. Like VHSs were heavy back in the day.
Yeah.
If you ever want to do a podcast about old vintage movies from the 80s, 90s, I got you there too, guys.
Oh, absolutely. Like now next year, if we do another, of course we're gonna do another Stereo Time. But if we did stuff from like early 90s and 80s, like your Wishmasters, your Hellraisers.
Just say Hellraisers, yeah.
That's the horror that I grew up on.
Oh, really?
Shit.
Yeah, that's the dirty. That's the gritty.
So before we wrap up here, we got a couple more points here. First off, let's get the mailbag going here. So I don't have any mail in, but if you want to send us your favorite horror movies or just want to talk to us in general, make sure you send us messages and comments on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and our email. Ryan, what is that email?
That is evacstation@gmail.com.
evacstation@gmail.com. Don't forget that one, folks. And before we get to ranking the film, let's do a quick round of trivia for you boys.
Oh boy.
So
Let's do it.
So, Beau, for most of these with guests, I have been doing a fun little bit where I give you guys a year. You have to tell me the top grossing horror film of that year.
Go for it.
I am so bad at this. Bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
horror's my worst genre, but I'm still, a fan of movies, so
well,
I gotcha.
So I think this is going to be a little easy on the first one, and it's going to get progressively harder. But let's see what you guys do. Okay, quick draw. 2017.
Oh.
Get Out.
Yeah, Get Out for Beau?
Yeah.
And,
damn it, he said it first.
Ryan, what's your answer, Ryan?
What else even came out?
I have a list. I can tell you what came out in 2017. I will not tell you the movie in particular, but I'll tell you what other movies came out for context.
Yeah, please.
That's Last Jedi, Spider-Man Homecoming, Justice League. I can't believe it came out that long ago. Coco.
Oh, I thought it was the horror movie that grossed that week.
No, we are talking horror movies. I'm just giving them examples of what else came out.
I got you. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. All right, go ahead.
No, but Beau, you're on the same page. He's just helping me out because I'm a moron.
I love it.
Well, Ryan, what do you think?
Shit. Aside from Get Out, what the hell else came out that year? I honestly don't know what other horror movies came out in 2017. I gotta pass.
Oh man, Ryan, you're gonna kick yourself here.
Yeah,
no. It's a dumb Aaron trick question. I guarantee it. It's too easy.
Beau, it is not Get Out. That's actually number 2. You are very close. Get Out made 176 million. The winner with 327 million.
I'm gonna be mad as fuck. What is this?
Is Stephen King's It.
Oh my
god.
Oh, because It came out in like February and fucking It came out in like October, right?
Stupid trick Aaron question.
I thought one of you were gonna get that. I'm actually surprised.
No. I've been a victim of these for years.
Oh, man.
I done forgot.
You're like a bully of trivia questions.
I try, man. I try. Next up is going to be 1992.
1992?
Yep.
Oh man. Was it Candyman? I'm gonna say Candyman.
Sure.
Well, can you get? Wait, no. Can we get a
Stole
list
it
of?
from me.
Yep. Let's. I'll give you the top 5 movies that are not horror movies. I've got Aladdin, Home Alone 2, Batman Returns, Lethal Weapon 3, and A Few Good Men.
Oh, yep. I take my answer back.
And to give you a fair reference, this movie is number 15 of the top grossing movies of 1992.
Sixth Sense.
I think Sixth Sense came out like mid to late 90s.
Well, it's a trivia question for a reason, isn't it?
You right. Let me shut up, Ryan. All right. Let me see. 92. It's a young one.
We were babbies, Ryan.
I'm going to guess it's actually one of the serial horror movies. I'm gonna guess Child's Play 2.
All right. Well, both of you gentlemen are off by quite a bit. The top grossing horror movie of 92 at 82 million is Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Get the fuck! Oh my god!
What?
I haven't seen Bram Stoker
Horror
in a little
horror film.
long
It smells like. That sounds more like Bora film.
It was actually a pretty good one.
It was not. I'll give you this. I did watch that late when it was on, when it was hyped and everything. So I think I was a victim of overhypeness with that movie. So
maybe.
I also haven't seen that movie in like 15 years, so it's possible that I just don't remember that shit.
I feel like a lot of people just say they think it's a good movie just because they don't want to feel lame.
All right, I got 2 more here for you. Let's see if I can get one of you guys on the board here. 1984. And the top
Nightmare?
And the top grossing movies of this year, not including the horror movies, are going to be Beverly Hills Cop, Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones, Karate Kid, and Police Academy.
I would say Ghostbusters because that scared the shit out of me as a 4-year-old.
That's not a horror movie.
I watched it as a 4-year-old, Ryan. I watched that as a 4-year-old.
1984?
84.
I'm going with Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm going with Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Oh.
All right, and the answer is Gremlins.
Oh, what? That's a Christmas movie, you asshole.
It does have the horror tag on it, though. It counts.
What? That was a horror
my
movie?
God.
I have horrible parents then. I have horrible parents. Because I had a Gremlins backpack. I had Gizmo. I had the whole 9. That's ridiculous.
That was no goddamn horror movie. Okay.
Well, let me scroll down so I can find something that fits the horror movie a bit more specifically here. Let's see.
Gremlins. What?
Ryan, what was you said Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
I said Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Right, okay, so that is not it either. The highest one after Gremlins and arguably Ghostbusters, depending on how you want to look at that one too. I have Friday the 13th at number 26, final chapter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa, really? Final chapter?
Yep.
Final.
Because Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street came in they started mid to late 70s.
Oh, really?
All right,
I'm learning from all of these silly ass trivia questions that I keep losing to.
All right, I got one more for you. Let's see if I can get any of you guys on the board. 1978.
Jaws.
Damn, he had that locked and loaded.
I got Jaws. Ryan, where are you sitting on this one? Other movies that came out. Just to give you a heads up. I've got Grease, Superman, Animal House, and Every Which Way But Loose.
I've never even heard of that.
Clint Eastwood movie. It's horrible.
Fuck my life. Say 78.
Yep.
I think it's heard some keystrokes.
I'm gonna go. No.
I trust
I'm gonna
Ryan. I
go
trust
with,
Ryan.
I'm gonna actually go with Hope. No. That was 80s. That was like mid 80s. Hellraiser.
There's another obvious answer.
He Beau's not wrong. There actually is another obvious answer, but we'll see. We'll see what it is.
I'll give you a hint. It deals with the theme of the podcast. Scary, sober,
Oh shit! It's a horror film. All right. Yeah. Let me see.
costumes, the 31st.
Wait.
I'm giving you all the hints in the world to get on the
I
board.
heard you.
Oh my God.
I don't know if Ryan trusts you though. That's the thing.
Oh, good point.
You know what? I'm gonna see if Friday the 13th does it. Yeah, let's go with Friday the 13th.
All right, the winner of this week's challenge by a single point
Yeah.
is Beau Ketchum.
I knew it.
I had to,
Right.
I'm giving it to you, but the answer is actually Jaws 2. But since you said Jaws, I'm gonna count it.
I did. There was just a skip in the it was the network.
Okay.
Or the microphone skip. I said Jaws. I just said it again. Did you hear that?
I did.
The correct answer was Jaws. God, it keeps skipping it. It keeps saying Jaws. I don't know. I just maybe two don't work on my.
Maybe.
There you go.
To give you guys a frame of reference here, Jaws 2 made $77 million. Halloween made $47 million.
Whoa! Really?
Yeah, big difference there. Let me see something real quick. Budget-wise, I do think Halloween made more money budget-wise, though. Actually,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, no, it did by.
By a large margin, I would think, man. That
Well, you think-
animatronic shark.
Percentage-wise,
That's cheap.
yes, but Jaws did make a lot more money, though. So,
That's
Really?
yeah.
that's
Very interesting.
So yeah, that is our trivia this week, and now we get to rank the movie real quick. Beau, for this season, or for this little mini series of Halloween movies, we're doing a quick, simple theme of bucket or fuck it. If it's good, it goes in the bucket. If it's bad, we say fuck it.
Well, usually when I like something, I would want to fuck it. So I'm this kind
No,
of
don't. That's how you end up meeting her parents and then getting fucking body snatched. Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Right.
It's a trick.
Oh, bucket for sure. This is one of my favorite movies. This is arguably a top 5. Is a desert movie. You know, if you have 5 movies to take on a desert, this would definitely represents the horror genre of that.
Oh damn, that's high praise.
I'm saying,
praise.
And it's a new movie to me, but I think it was done just excellent.
I'm with Beau on this one. I will also bucket. I think it's definitely up there. It is one of the best horror films out there. It's definitely the best of this new breed of horror film we're getting, this socio-political kind of horror, which I want to see more of, honestly. It's very good to talk about.
Yeah, no, hands down, it's definitely going in the bucket of blood. It's a fantastic film that really strikes an amazing tone, and it's so grounded in reality that it's really fucking unsettling. So yes, 100%.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Everyone is on board for Get Out, so get into the theater and watch this, or get out. I mean, brace up.
Roll credits.
You killed the synopsis, bro. You killed the synopsis. Make it a 10-minute break before the next one. How about that?
So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you. Let me check the schedule real quick. So if Get Out is coming out second, then y'all will be listening to A Quiet Place next week, and then we're going to go record the week after that right now, which is Annihilation. So we'll see you after the credits.
And the monsters grunt and
Bye.
rotting faces full of slime. Don't you know it's terror time?